Yeah, absolutely. I work in a number of different areas. I've over the years I've worked a lot with teams, and that's to enhance team performance because so often like we have our own default settings, and we so often think because something is clear in my mind, it must be clear in how I'm expressing it and how that other person is receiving it. That's not the case. That's frequently not the case. So I'm helping teams recognize how to communicate with each other. So it's boosting performance levels, it's boosting compatibility within teams, and it's boosting people's confidence within the team because it enables them to communicate with far greater effect, much more accuracy, greater understanding, and they're a lot happier. So they're more willing to commit within the company, to commit to actually be fully present rather than the presenteeism we're seeing in a lot of places. And then we're what clients are reporting then is greater customer satisfaction because I'm also helping them read their customers and get the message
Now,
across.
now, Joseph. So, in your opinion, um, the and the panels that you've been on, etc. Did you see executives and negotiators, fellow interviewers on your panel, um, did something wrong and they missed the signals? And did you have a chance to train them? Did you tap them on the wrist? How did you solve that? Because I'm assuming you've seen a lot of doozies out there being involved in those types of conversations, and you're not the only one on the panel. Probably there are other people representing other things on the panel, and everybody's got their own style. But here you are watching everybody, not just a candidate, and you're looking at the your fellow interviewers, and you're thinking, "Oh my God, don't do that! Don't ask that." What were some of those moments, if you will, and how did you address them immediately or after?
It's often once I've met the panel, I know who everybody is. So there will be a meeting. That's part of the process. That's a vital part of the process. I didn't take that one on board initially. So there were times people made themselves the star of the process. The interviewers, they took it over, and some people had bigger egos, so they just wanted to highlight their experience and their skills, etc., etc. So I had to step up afterwards and accept, okay, I need to be responsible here. And then in some cases, it was very clear I could not work with certain people again because they would not be open to listening. That's just where they were at. But where people were open, I was able to point out that it wasn't serving them and it wasn't serving the company. And that's what I would always highlight. How is this benefiting the company, this behavior, this approach? And the reality is like the consistent global failure rate for executive appointments over the last 10 years now, the consistent global failure rate for executive appointments in the first 18 months is somewhere between 40 and 70%. So people are making the same mistakes continuously. So increasingly now, I meet with the panel, I talk with them about where they come from. I'll be assessing them anyway. So I will see where some people are likely to be, shall we say, more invasive of the process, and some people are more likely to be laid back. But I will give them very clear instructions as to my role and what I'm doing, and then there will be a debrief afterwards in terms of what has actually happened, what has been effective, what hasn't. And it took me quite a while probably to step into my own confidence in terms of really taking charge. That like this is guys, this is what's working and this is what's not working for you. And if you continue that process, this is what's going to happen. And there's one other particular thing I have noticed is sometimes I am brought in, but the decision has already been made. I'm brought in for show. I have seen that, and there's one particular example that immediately comes to mind where it was the role of chief auditor in a financial services institution here in Dublin, and it was very clear at a certain point that the internal candidate was going to be successful. And I wrote up a profile anyway. And in my profile, I said he overestimates his own intelligence. Now, I didn't put it quite like that. I put it a bit more diplomatically than that. But I said he overestimates his own intelligence, doesn't pay attention to detail, and has problems delegating. And that interview process was in November. literally on Christmas Eve of that year, one of his team noticed a major issue that the guy had neglected, and they dealt with it. But if they hadn't dealt with it on Christmas Eve, the company would have lost their license to trade at a cost of 20 million euro. And when the CEO was reminded about the profile that I wrote, he said, "Yeah, I knew all that about the guy, but I thought he would change."